And welcome to my channel. Trying to scoot myself over here. I wanted to do another video. This video, I want to talk about the correlations in the Indian Wars. What I mean by correlation, I was talking about the correlation between um, slavery and the Indian Wars. I just found this quite interesting. I believe that, let me tell you about this article. It's more like a timeline. I found it off of Legends of America. Um, yeah, Legends of American website. I'm going to put a link below for you all to see it. Um, this particular timeline focuses on the 1800s through the 1850s. So, yeah, but I'm pretty sure there are other timelines that might go even further back. I'm gonna have to research it to see if I can find some that go further back. But the reason why I was looking at these timelines is because as I've been doing more research and studying more about our Aborigine histories and studies about American Aborigines, I noticed that I'm starting to believe more and more. This is my theory. I'm pretty sure it's theories among a lot of it probably has even been proven by some scientists, anthropologists perhaps. But it's my belief that slavery, for the most part, are the people who were captured during the slave time who are indigenous were actually prisoners of war. Because I didn't start noticing this until I realized how many wars that was constantly breaking out between the Aborigines and the Europeans. There's a lot of them, especially on the East Coast. I believe these wars are, I tried to pull the ones that's along the East Coast. Yeah, I believe all these wars that I pulled up are from the East Coast. So I believe that a lot of these, since there weren't that many Africans that were brought over into the United States, and the United States were producing their own slaves, I believe that most of the slaves that they captured were indigenous people who were prisoners of war. I think they killed off the men and kidnapped the women and children. That's what I think. And I was researching this because I was trying to focus in on my family ancestors, which is Creek and Cherokee. And I saw the Creek War right here, 1814. So I'm going to use Creek as an example. 1814 Creek War under Andrew Jackson broke the powers of Creek raiders in Georgia, Alabama after the Creek had attacked Fort Mims and masquerade settlers. They relinquished a vast land tract. And then it says here, see Battle of Horseshoe Bend. See, it's a lot of wars that was going on throughout history. And I'm looking down here. Here's the Seminole. The first Seminole War, 1816 through 1818. I'm beginning to think that I'm going to do this with my family tree because I'm starting to think that there's a correlation between wars that was going on with the indigenous people and the enslavement of people. So if you can, since it's so hard to find all the facts that's going on and try to piecemeal everything that's going on in our history, I think looking at the timeline of the wars and finding out when your ancestor was sold on the slave block and what area might help you pinpoint what tribe your ancestor might originate from. That's just a speculation. I'm thinking about doing that for my tree. I'm starting to think that maybe you could see a correlation and maybe can even pick up where your ancestor might have been, you know, you could see how that works. You could, I sort of lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, you guys. I was just trying to see, see you could see probably or get an idea of what tribe your family may have come from by the timing that they were enslaved, since it wasn't that many Africans and it was more likely Aborigines being captured. If your ancestor was captured around the same area or location of a war, and then there's a strong chance that maybe your ancestor might be linked or tied to a particular tribe. You see, because they captured a lot of people and threw them into slavery, especially the women and children. Sometimes you can figure that out. But we're going to go over a few more of these wars that took place. I didn't realize it was so many. This is just over a 50-year time span. So if y'all see these wars, you got to understand that our people have been fighting to save this land. I used to wonder as a little girl when I learned about slavery, why did that, because they kept on pushing this African narrative that we're from Africa. Why didn't Africans come and try to save us during this time period? But when you look at the wars that's going on, our people were fighting. You got to think about it. The Europeans came over around the late 1400s, early 1500s. And they didn't capture these lands until usually around the late 1700s to the beginning of the 1800s. So that means that our people have been in war with these folks for well over 250 years. That's a very long time. So they were fighting for us. You got to think about it. When I think about it, I said our people are warriors. Our men were fierce warriors. That's why they are trying to keep us from knowing our history. And they don't want our men to know that they were the Indians. They were the fighting warriors. They don't want you to get that war spirit back in you and connect back with your ancestors. Because when you learn about our heritage, you'll learn that we connect with our ancestors. We communicate, we pray, and they live through us. And we are not connected to our ancestors because we have lost that stolen identity. So once we reconnect to our ancestors, that warrior spirit will come up. And that's what they're afraid of. That's why they do the mass incarcerations, the killings, the police killing, and erase our history and all this crazy discrimination and whitewashing and gray washing and gray supremacy. All this crazy stuff that's going on in this world, in this country. That's why they do what they do. They don't want you to realize that you were these fierce warriors, the chiefs. Oh my gosh, Aborigine men. I hope you all are listening to this video. Hopefully y'all open up. We need more. And we need more of our brothers and sisters to realize who we are. This is who we are. Of course, this picture here, I don't know, this is probably a half-breed right here. Or a Mongoloid Indian. But they didn't put the real picture of the Aborigines. The Aborigines were the ones that was on the East Coast. Okay? And when they put these fair-skinned ones with European features, they are probably half-breeds. That have barely much energy, black Aborigine in them anyway. But I just wanted to touch on that. That's what it is. They don't want us to reconnect to our warrior spirit, our fighters. We're warriors. And that's what they don't want us to know. And it's definitely a correlation. And maybe I helped trigger some people's ideas of researching their ancestry and finding a lineage. But I believe all our African Americans were descendants of slaves. No, are the Indians pretty much. We are. And until people realize that we have our ties to this country, this is our homeland. Just like Martin Luther King said, just like Malcolm X said, this is our home. And we need to start as identifying ourselves as Aborigine. These wars right here were our people fighting for their land, fighting against being enslaved and being prisoners of war. We were prisoners of war. Our ancestors were prisoners of war. These wars, the Indians were trying to fight to get their women and children back, their family back. That was what was going on, and put an end to slavery and them stealing our land. That's what this was all about. That's what this is all about. All these wars. I just looked through them. Let's look here. They got Fort Dearborn Masquerade. 1813 Dearborn Masquerade. 1814 Creek War. 1816 Seminole War. 1818 She-Hawk Affair. 1832 Black Hawk War. Black Hawk War. 1832 again Indian Creek Masquerade. 1835 Second Seminole War. 1836 Comanche War. 1836 the Creek War. Oh my gosh, the Creek Indians were really fighting it up. Those are my people. See, that's what I'm saying. They fought. 1839 Cherokee War. They were fighters, warriors fighting them back. And that's why they want to hide this from us. That's why they don't want us to know. This is only the first page. It's it's more pages of this. You go to the third, it's several pages of this. But I'm going to put a link below, you guys. I just wanted to share this with you. This is just only 1 or 2 pages. This is just the first page. It's more. All these conflicts and wartime lists on the timeline shows that we've been fighting from day one. I might do another video about this, because this don't even go scratch the surface. This is just for a 50-year time period. There were way more wars than that, because they were fighting. We were fighting. And we lost the fire because our identity and culture were stolen from us and kept away. And it's time for us to reconnect to who we really are. And we are the American Aborigines. So please like this video and thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. And I would love to hear your comments. And if you know about any more wars that's gone on, and see, if you all were able to track your roots that way of finding your ancestry, I would love to hear about that too. But till next time, peace and be blessed. Bye-bye.